Hello, and welcome to Back Bay Mission's special series of interviews for National Volunteer Week. I'm Christopher Marlin Warfield, the Church Relations Associate at Back Bay Mission, and each day this week we're posting an interview with one or two of our most dedicated volunteers. To hear all of the interviews, please go to our website, thebackbaymission.org. Every year, Back Bay Mission has about 750 volunteers from across the United States join us in Biloxi to work in our ministries. While they're here, these volunteers work in our housing rehabilitation program, in our food pantry, in the Micah Day Center, and with our sister organization, Loaves and Fishes. Just as importantly, they also have the opportunity to meet with the people we serve and learn about the issues that we address. Some volunteers come for a week, and some stay for months. Some are highly skilled, and others are learning to do new things. Some come once, and some make annual pilgrimages to the Gulf Coast. And we are grateful to and thankful for all of them. Today, I'm speaking with a couple who volunteer with us, Penny Lowe's and Dean McMinn. Penny is a pastor in the United Church of Christ who has served a couple of churches in Michigan. Dean was a small business owner in the automotive and building products industries. They are both avid volunteers for a variety of different groups and causes. They also love the outdoors, which I'm sure means they have great fun on the Gulf Coast. Penny and Dean, you started volunteering at the mission shortly after Hurricane Katrina, but you knew about us before then through your connections with the United Church of Christ. Can you tell us a little bit about how you went from being people who knew about the mission to being long-term volunteers?
Yes, we first learned about the mission through an annual shrimp sale that a local Detroit Metropolitan Association church provided. We purchased shrimp and began to do that each year, and they shared information about the Back Bay mission. Then I went to serve as pastor at the Congregational Church of Birmingham United Church of Christ in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and that church had a long-term relationship with the Back Bay mission. And we would do a fundraiser once a year and send, monies to Back Bay. So during that time, then Katrina hit, and we decided to go to New Orleans first as disaster relief. But when we were there, because we were close, we drove over to the Back Bay Mission, which at that time was still under construction following the devastation of Katrina. So we just saw the devastation there and decided that we wanted to come back as long-term disaster relief volunteers.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit about the work that you do at the mission. I'll start with you, Dean. You work on site with our mission trip volunteer groups on the actual construction sites. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in that role?
Well, you work directly with Craig, which was a great experience. He would basically lay out the format for the day, and you were the straw boss. He'd show up on occasion, just to clarify that we're on the same page, which probably 95% of the time we were. But we would start with right down to the demolition, taking down wainscoting and pulling up tile and vinyl flooring, stripping the stucco off the ceilings, and doing whatever's necessary, including pulling out cabinetry and gutting kitchens, getting the walls prepped for paint and paint. This is on reconstruction, on new construction, which we start with insulating, and we'd have crews come in and put up the drywall and tape the drywall off and sand it. And most people that would come had absolutely no idea what they were doing, but when they left after that week's worth of work, they were all experts.
And Penny, you work as our volunteer coordinator. Can you tell us a little bit about that position and what you do in it?
Yes, I would meet and greet the volunteers as they would arrive each week on Sunday evening and give them a brief orientation for their lodging, what to expect in the guest house, and how to, I kind of help them coordinate their week, give them some suggestions for how they might do their meals and how they might coordinate their days, and then introduce the Craig to them and Dean, the site supervisor, and help them get ready for their week. I also had the great pleasure of interfacing with potential volunteers as they would phone in or email to schedule during the upcoming years, really, because it's usually scheduling over a year out. So I would get to talk to people and share what the Back Bay experience is and what they could expect if they were first-time volunteers, if they were volunteers that came regular, as many do, coming once a year over many years. They would share some of their experiences with me and ask what sites we were working on and what was going on at that time. So I had the pleasure of interfacing with potential and ongoing volunteers.
That leads really nicely into my next question, which is both of you work closely with our mission trip groups. And we often hear about what a transformative experience mission trips to the mission are. How have you seen volunteers, either groups or individuals, changed through their time with us?
People were almost always astounded. One woman that I see regularly here in Michigan, who came in April of 2013, has told me repeatedly it was a life-changing event for her. In particular, she never really saw the human face of homelessness. And for her, that was just earth-shattering to work in the Micah Center and interface with some of the homeless people living in the community and realize that many of them were educated, were articulate, had or did have families and had jobs and life experiences not dissimilar from her own. And it was amazing to her how people could so easily become homeless and disenfranchised. And it just changed her perception entirely. And she's begun volunteering here at a homeless shelter for young teens. And it's that kind of a thing over and over again that people, number one, working physically besides volunteers that you've never met before from other areas of the country or even the state you were from, right there coming on a common mission and then realizing that you were just simply working for another person, another family, not so very different from yourselves. And I think that was the most eye-opening experience for people, is that it truly came down to just people helping people. All the barriers and things that divide us fell away, and the humanness rose up, and that was really the part of the Christ-like experience of the mission as well.
And the one thing that I stressed with the newcomers, so when we're on site, we're doing more than just work. There's you're going to have an opportunity to meet some of the homeowners and some of the neighbors. What you need to do is open your ears and listen. And just you don't have to interject your thoughts into it. Just sit back and let them tell their story. And it didn't matter what the age range was. It could be the younger ones or the older ones. When they would hear the stories of these people and how devastating it was, and they had lost loved ones and pets and all their worldly possessions, and they had a positive outlook on the whole situation. That was, you could just see the transformation in our volunteers' faces. They just had absolutely no idea, the magnitude of that whole situation.
And similarly, how have you seen yourselves change during your time with us?
It's a humbling experience. I I've been very, fortunate my entire lifetime. Been, six, had my own business, been successful at that, and I've been very fortunate to be married to a wonderful woman. And what more? I think what more could you ask for? But when I started going down for the Katrina relief in New Orleans and in Biloxi, it's just like I say, it's humbling. I just see how fortunate I was, and I just decided that I really needed to give back. I guess that's about it.
And mine's similar, but the saying, "But there for the grace of God go I." I mean, I have had some very difficult times in my life when it was other people that helped me and helped me and my children survive. So for me to be able to give back has been a real joy. And I just love the opportunity to meet people in a new setting, to be challenged, to be outside of my comfort zone where I have to use different skills and abilities than I've had before. And that's been the remarkable part of it, too, is that meeting people in a new place, under new circumstances, being challenged and then being changed and grown by it. One of the things I've learned is that I am a very good drywaller. And I never knew anything about mudding before I first went to New Orleans. So, but just that process of working hard alongside people, striving to make a difference, and realizing that many people would not be back in their homes if it weren't for the volunteer efforts. And just to be a small part of that really just helped me feel like I'd contributed something worthwhile to the world.
When we spoke before, you both pointed out that there's more to being at Back Bay Mission than the work, and that you always encourage groups to take an afternoon and explore the Gulf Coast. I also know that you're big outdoor people, so what do you love to do when you're here and have some time to get away from the mission?
I took a walk every morning along the ocean and the Back Bay. From the mission, I would get up, and an hour before we were to meet, I would take a walk and just greet the sunrise and watch the pelicans and all that was going on in the nature of the morning. We also took time. We visited some of the natural parks around there. We took a bayou tour up through the bayou, a guided environmental tour, which was just fantastic to see the local wildlife and animals, so different from where we're from.
And the local cuisine.
Yeah, the local cuisine, the oysters and the fresh shrimp. And we drove along the Mississippi coast and went over to Bellingrass Gardens and some other places like that, just to absorb more of the local landscape and the local people, stopping and just, at a mom and pop place to have dinner and that kind of thing.
And finally, we're sending this interview out to everyone we can, so you have an audience here. What's the thing about Back Bay Mission that you would like to share with everyone, especially people who might not know very much about us?
I would like to share, first of all, that it has a long history and a long, important history, and I would encourage people to go online and go to the website and read about the historical presence of Back Bay and how it has impacted people's lives in so many ways throughout the almost 100 years of its existence. And secondly, I would say that if, before your life is over, take the time to do something new, step out of your comfort zone and do something for others. And Back Bay Mission has an outstanding organization, has, I would say, the Cadillac of places to stay if you're doing mission work, and that when you go, you will be changed and you will never be sorry that you spent a week out of your life. And people have told me that is exactly true. They they might be in their 60s or 70s, had never done a mission experience, went to Back Bay and were totally transformed, and we're grateful they had had that experience.
Yes, and I'd have to add that if you're a veteran, you need to know that there are, I'm going to say, 50 to 60,000 homeless vets out there today. Back Bay has started a program where they're building new housing for vets. And I'm a veteran myself, and I was so thrilled to be down there and to meet some of these vets that's been homeless for 26 years, and they have a place of their own today, and they never thought that it would ever happen, and that's the one thing one of the many things that I'm very appreciative that Back Bay has tackled.
And I would want to add too that when you go, you will be changed, but you will bring home new ideas and new experiences to better your life in the community where you live and give you new options and new ideas to strengthen the community in which you live. So it's not only about helping others far away, but it's giving you that immersion experience and new eyes and new ears and new ideas to bring back home to share.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, Penny and Dean, thank you very much for joining us and sharing about your experience at Back Bay Mission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you in November.